Thank you, everybody. Hvala lijepa for the invitation. I really apologize. I'm in the luggage delivery section of Milan airport because my flight was delayed. I didn't manage to arrive on time at home. So I hope you can hear me without background noise. Is it okay? Can I continue? Okay, good. Thank you for the introduction. It's really fascinating what you have heard from Betsan, and it's very easy for me then to tell you in a few words what happened. In some way, I didn't know Betsan at the time, 10 years ago, but I was a surgeon specialized in breast cancer. And I always noticed that patients who were knitting, were much more capable to cope with the diagnosis, the process, the surgery, and the day after surgery. And they were laughing because, smiling, saying, you see, I do this, and to do this, I don't need a plug, I don't need electricity, I don't need Wi-Fi, I have everything with me. And so the concept of portability that Betsan has just stressed in hospitals is very important. The personal comment is that I was born in Biella, which is a city in the northwest part of Italy, and it's called the city of wool. So it's a coincidence, but it happened. Any brand that you can think of, from Zegna or Europeana, Fila, whatever, is from Biella, because there was, and still is, an ancient know-how on processing and treating wool, approximately 300 years. So when I retired, I put the two things together. I favored the establishment of an association to promote wool knitting with wool in breast cancer centers. And this became such a success. There are more than, I think, 46, 47 hospitals in Italy now who regularly promote and offer to patients the chance to start knitting or to have wool for knitting. And I'm told that one in three patients says yes and say, let's give it a try. So it's an action of promotion that we are doing. Of course, you can knit with different fibers, but we are focusing on wool because I personally believe, and also my friends believe, that wool is an example of the challenge to our society, to our capability of deal with the problems that we create. And I mean that we want to eat sheep meat. Many people like the restaurant to have lamb. We like to have milk. You do excellent cheese in the island of Pag, very near you, but nobody cares about the wool. And it's not the sheep's fault if the wool grows on them, and every sheep makes approximately 1.5 kilo of wool per year. And I keep repeating that this is not a neuroscience comment. I apologize with the audience. I go back to that, but just because numbers are important. We estimate that there are approximately 100 million sheep in Europe. So we have every year 150 million kilos of wool. And we are less and less capable to use them because synthetic fibers are cheaper. So a lot of clothes are made in synthetic fibers, and wool is now only 1% in the textile industry. and wool is not accepted, received by the market, so it's been declared waste. A lot of people in a lot of countries are burning or destroying wool because we don't know what to do with that. So the second step for me was to discover that the problem was not only in Italy, it was all over Europe. And this is why we, with the friends, with Sandra Kerovets, who is there, would be the next speaker, with Betsan and other friends, we decided to try and put in common the different experience. And this is the origin of the European Wool Exchange Foundation. I'm told that I can share the content. Our website address is very easy. It's u.network. And you can see that we have done a declaration that it's called Malpenga because it was written in that place. But briefly, we are stimulating people to become aware of the problem. And basically, we are promoting a European Wool Day. Every year is the 9th of April. The first year was in Cyprus. The second year, this year, was in Spain. We are rotating country by country and distributing the content in streaming. We have also just done the Twiddle Math Award in Zagreb, and Sandra Kerovet will talk about that, and this is what you have seen, and Betsan has already shown one, but it's incredible what people can do with that in this part of application of wool knitting to health. And this is why we are concentrating on 6 pillars, so-called pillars. And one is the observatory. We would like to map the different knitting centers and knitting for health and well-being centers in Europe. The second is the bank. We would like to favor the exchange of the different type of wool within Europe. We have started, for example, to use merino Spanish wool, very soft, to make hat for people in chemotherapy, that they lose hair. And then to do that, you need a very soft wool. Other things can be done in rough wool, like blankets, like other. We would like to promote museums or villages of wool, places where families and children can know and understand about wool and about knitting. As I said, we are promoting every year the European Wool Day on the 9th of April. The next year, the next 9th of April 23, it will be the turn of Greece. And the day will be organized in Epirus, in Metsovo. And everybody is, of course, invited to join now that we don't have, hopefully, the COVID restrictions anymore. And the 5th pillar is the therapeutic knitting that Betsan has just described, and she's our mentor, she's our muse, and we will follow as much as possible her indication and promote it around Europe. And the 6th is called Cyprus Wool Laboratory, just because we decided to establish the foundation in Cyprus, because Cyprus is the epitome. It's really the example of what I was saying before. In Cyprus, they make a cheese which is quite famous called alumi, and this cheese must be done with sheep milk, grown up and living in Cyprus. So the paradox is that Cyprus has 1 million inhabitants, people living on the island, nearly 500,000 of sheep. They want to reach the number of 500,000. So 1 sheep every 2 inhabitants, and there is no plan whatsoever for the wool. So this is the scope of our foundation. I would like to finish my contribution, and I really thank you for inviting me to Brač virtually, by saying that following the study that Betsan mentioned, the survey and other consideration, we were lucky enough to have a group of neurology at Istituto Vesta in Milan accepting to do MEG and an EEG to before and after 20 minutes of crotchety. They just finished 40 subjects and 20 controls. And at the end of October, we will have the results, which are already very interesting because it was, the MEG was done after a stimulation of the attention with lights. I know that Professor Mimica wants also to replicate the study with knitting, which would be fantastic because we have done crocheting, and if you could do in Zagreb knitting, we will have a wonderful meta-analysis and wonderful results. So thank you again, Hvala lepa again, and I stay for the discussion.